All right, everybody. Well, welcome to the third episode of the Growler Hour, and thank you for listening or watching if it's on YouTube. What we're basically doing is, just trying out different beers from different breweries and just trying to support our local areas. And, my name is Jimmy. This is Josh. And
what's up?
You could find
That's
us.
me.
You could find
I'm
our
Josh.
handles. You can find our handles in our link description on our Instagram page for the Growler Hour. And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, but make sure to follow us at the Growler Hour on Instagram.
Yes,
make sure to follow the podcast on Spotify. We're on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, basically all the major platforms that you're going to find podcasts on. So make sure to follow us on there. Make sure to listen to the previous episodes that we have. We have our first pilot. We have episode 1, episode 2, and now we're on episode 3. We're excited. We're excited to do
sir.
it. Like Jimmy was saying, we love craft beer, and we want to. Originally, we just wanted to drink and be nonsensical and kind of just mess around with each other and make a podcast out of it. But we've kind of leaned into the craft beerness of this podcast and decided to get a little more in depth with the breweries that are local to us, and everything that comes along with that, the food vendors and all that stuff. So we're really excited to kind of bring this to you guys, and hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.
I'll also bring in a community, although right now, especially right now, we can't really be with our community, and just everybody just have fun with this.
Yeah, we're still in COVID times, unfortunately, with more strict laws again, where restaurants aren't open again. And thank God, because really, why the hell did we open the restaurants again to start? I don't know. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but it's just like, come on, Newsom. Get your head out of your ass.
Come on, dog.
But really, man,
all right. Well, so last time we were talking about COVID stuff. Yes, a little more political.
What beer
stuff.
did we have, Jimmy?
What
beer did we have? Do you remember?
Was a little bit taller from New York's Ale.
That's right.
And
from where?
You could
Noble Ale Works. Come on,
shit.
Jimmy.
Noble Ale Works. Okay, my bad. I'm so bad. But this is your local spot that I have been there once. Okay,
True.
so
true.
Sorry.
You went there once to pick up the Growler for the show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I also said, I don't know, this is something that you wanted. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll appease. So
you know what, Jimmy? I just thought it'd be good. I don't know. I figured I was gonna get Noble, and you were working in the area at the time, so I figured why not pick it up on your way home? Don't blame this on me, man. I gave you the option.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I did choose the Irish Red, which was delicious, of course.
It was great. It was pretty damn great.
Yeah, I'll give them that. And I do remember which beer it was. Irish was a little bit taller.
Good.
Noble
because
Ale
I doubt
Works.
you're going to remember anything from the brewery that we're talking about today, which I'm taking you to. But, as we talked about, you don't really remember being there. So,
okay. All right. So we also talked about this at some point in our lives where we like to pregame before we go out.
Yeah, we do.
Bit. Yes.
We're those people.
I show up. I'm like, oh, do you want a michelada? And I'm like, who turns down a michelada?
Really? That's just that's a comfort drink. That's so I compare it to this. My dad, our culture, with Mexican culture, my dad, his hospitality, the way he kind of welcomes people into the home is, he offers them a shot of tequila or of mezcal or whatever he has on hand at the time. So he, that's kind of just something that I always grew up with. Not that I was taking shots when I was 5 years old or anything. Wouldn't that be something? But once I became of age and my dad was okay with, me having a drink, he would extend an invitation to have a shot. And so that's just kind of how we welcome people into our house. And that kind of stuck with me in a way where, if someone comes over, I offer them a beer, or I offer them a michelada or something, So
Yeah, I mean, it's just being, humble in your own house, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
being a good host.
exactly. So, I mean, yeah, same here. If there's anything in my fridge that I know for someone to have, sure. And not that I would ever force anybody to drink, if I have soda, if I have juice, whatever.
Do it, Josh. Drink this beer. That's Jimmy.
No, come on, man. Definitely not.
Open wide. That's what he does. Throws me on the ground, opens my mouth with one hand, and shoves a crowler.
This does not sound good at all. I don't know why you're like saying it like
Well,
this.
Jimmy, stop getting drunk and feeding me beers. You don't even let me drink it. You literally just shove the can into my mouth and expect me to eat it through the aluminum.
Come on, man. No, I didn't. That's not true.
You mean you don't remember?
Well, obviously, it's very traumatic for you than it was for me.
Yeah, it is. No, but yeah, we pregame a lot. No, I wouldn't say we pregame because a lot of people, when you associate pregaming, it's like let's have shots before we go out to the club or before we go out to the party or whatever. We
Shots
literally just have a
covered parking lot.
Michelada or break open a Bud Light or something. Those light beers.
Yeah, chill for what, like 30, 45 minutes, and we're like, let's Uber over there or Lyft, and then
Yeah,
because we're very careful and we know we're
be
probably have a few
responsible,
beers.
drink
Exactly.
responsibly.
Yeah.
We can't be a beer podcast without telling people to drink responsibly because it would be irresponsible of us to just tell people to open a crowler and then go
There are
drive to your
many people out there that will be the DD, and you could pay a little bit more just for some.
yeah. I mean, that's the convenience of Uber, Lyft, and whatever other ride sharing apps that there are. I mean, is there anything else? I think there was Curve for a little while. Or
You can be ghetto about
Curb.
it.
It was called Curb.
You can be ghetto about it and then have AAA do it for you.
You
Yeah.
just want a free ride, so you just call AAA and be like, just take me from point A to point B.
Pretty much.
You think, you know what? That's actually kind of a good idea. Just you're drunk, you're too drunk at the bar, and just be like, yeah, my car broke down. I need a lift back to my house, and get AAA to tow you back to your house. I mean, do you think? I don't know. Do people do that?
Yeah, I've had some friends do that.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. And they'll totally do that. That's awesome. Do you remember, actually, speaking of like ride sharing and like drinking and not driving, do you remember it was like not like a hotline, but it was a drunk driving hotline or the drunk driving taxi or something like that? There was like one that you could call at night and like it would cost nothing. It was like a free service. I don't know all the places that it was at, but I know in the Inland Empire they had it, and it was like a taxi service that you could call at any time of the night if you're too drunk, and they'll take you home for free. Do you remember that?
Somewhat, yeah, adjacent, kind of adjacent to the AAA thing. I think
it had a name, but I can't remember what that name was.
Probably said it all there.
I don't know if they had it in a bunch of places.
If you're too drunk, call this number.
Yeah, pretty much. No, because they had cards too that you could just pass along to people, and it was like the drunk driving. I don't know. I can't remember. Let's not get into it. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I wonder if that's still around.
Sure it is. Well, who knows right now? I don't even know what's going on right now. There's too many things that are going on. So other things that we talked about in the last episode was, we didn't
was our drunk experience at Golden Road.
Yep, the Golden Road.
And the aftermath. So if you want to hear about us naked wrestling while drunk, go back to episode 2.
Yep.
That's always fun.
Yeah, about somewhere in the middle. And that was interesting. So we touched up a little bit like about Black is Beautiful beer, about how many
That's right. Great. Which
participating.
A couple of the breweries are now starting to put out their beers. I know Crowns and Hops have put out theirs. I haven't been able to like really look for it. I've been not drinking so much, or been trying not to drink so much. So, that's kind of what happens. You miss out on some of the stuff. But I'm hoping, I saw that the brewery is putting one out, Noble Ale Works is putting one out. A couple of other places nearby me that'll be putting out a Black is Beautiful beer. Probably some near you. I can't remember who else was doing it. I had a whole list of like 21 breweries that are local to us, but I don't have that in front of me today. But if you want to know more about the Black is Beautiful beer, check out episode 2, because we do talk about it. We cover a little bit of what the movement's about and what they're supporting. So check it out. I think it's a great initiative. I hope to get some of my own and support someone that's doing some good in these crazy, harsh, weird times.
Yep, super weird times. Actually, honestly, dude, I had to stop. I really had to stop watching the news. It's been getting me super depressed lately. I'm like, it's not with my beer.
Not with my beer.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm like, no, can't do it.
I get that. To be honest, I don't watch the news that much. Like I don't watch TV in general. Like I have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and that's my go-to. And if I watch news, it's because I'm like flipping through my phone's browser, like, and see like if I open a new tab on my phone, it shows me all the like trending topics that are like,
well, we know
relevant
what your
to
news
me,
is.
Your news. That's all I do.
Your news is Instagram. Your news is Instagram. I'm like, where are you getting this?
We talked about that
from?
last time. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Instagram is facts. That's where you get all your news. If you want to know what's going on in the world, just go there and believe everything that everyone tells you.
Exactly.
That's how I do it. I do it.
Like flooded with Instagram stories of just like flip-flopping between like, I don't even want to get into politics, just flip-flopping. I'm just like, whoa, okay, you didn't really need to say that. I know it's gonna disappear in 24 hours, but I saw it.
Yeah, everyone on every side of every argument is just posting things that some of it is helpful and some of it not so much. And I feel like some people need to stand up for the right things, and the people who are standing up for the wrong things just need to shut up. It's just a lot of
it's
just ignorance, and
a lot of the times it's you gotta look at somebody, understand that you're not gonna have an argument with them. You can't like not even change someone's opinion. You can't like even like just let them hear you out. So you just gotta step away. You just can't keep going like having a war of attrition. It's like it would not make any type of
and
sense.
then it's like hard to talk to someone who's like so set in their ways and is so ignorantly unapologetic in their ways, and they think that they're right. It's like there are just some people that think that they're right all the time. And granted, I can be that way. Like I can go off about things that I think I know a lot about, and I really like, once I start like diving into it, I realize that, wow, I really don't know that much about this topic or this subject. And so I try to jump into it a little more. But there's a lot of people who are just blind and they put blinders on and don't want to see like what's really going on, and don't want to see a different viewpoint. Is just, what I say goes, and anything else is, can fall by the wayside. So there's a lot of stubborn people out there, but
oh yeah,
we should all just try to, why can't we all just get along,
Well, I guess that's one of the big questions out of life. Like, why can't we just get along?
Why the fuck not, man?
It's like, why do you got to be so much into other people's business to the point where it's going to be so blown out of proportion with your lack of information about anything because you're just kind of lazy about it. And just like, it's like one of those games where they would play, like, someone would say something and then they'll have to pass it along to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And at the end, it's something completely different, right?
Exactly. And it's such I don't know, it's such a detriment to our society, I guess, especially since the media kind of controls everything. And depending on where you get your news from certain media outlets, they can be telling you a different story than what's actually going on, or paying more attention to stories that aren't as relevant as others to just try to get rid of not get rid of the problem, but just try to what is it, gaslighting? I think it's gaslighting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, actually
So,
I rarely hear that term, maybe twice in my life, but yeah. I mean,
it's coming up a lot more now because of all the stuff that's been happening for years and years that people are kind of wising up to. I think more so white America is wising up to the younger generations now. But yeah, it's definitely becoming a word, a popular word in today's vocabulary. You know.
yeah, no, dude, totally. Yeah, just I mean, I don't know. It's some crazy times now, and just it is what it is. But I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone will hopefully just kind of like grow a little bit more backbone as they're showing, or just I don't know, and just kind of like just be like, all right, let's kind of like start moving forward. Let's find a common ground and build a foundation off of everything that's happened. Let's move forward and let's go.
Yeah.
Let's all like start prospering with one another. All right, let's start talking about your shirt now. So you
Sure. What about it?
okay,
Which
so
one? The
okay, well
BB-8
yeah,
shirt or
the
the kind
flower,
that you like to point out all the time? My
yeah,
floral, flowery
yeah,
shirts.
the one I like to point out all the time.
Well, everybody, go ahead to the YouTube right now and check out the video just to see my shirt. And while
Yeah.
you're there, like and
Oh,
subscribe.
it's a lot of sunflowers like all over. I mean, it's a cool shirt, but I just wonder where he gets these shirts. I mean, obviously I'm not that hip enough to
You're
wear.
not at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not even a
thanks.
little bit. Where do you buy your stuff? Baby Gap?
Baby Gap. Come on, dog. I don't know where I got this from. I probably got this at Anime Expo one year. It's a Capsule Corp shirt.
1 year, like 10 years ago?
Come on. No, probably like it was a few years ago or somewhere. No, actually, it probably was a couple years ago at some type of convention. Um, I'm also wearing a Zelda hat that was custom made by some kid over at one of these other conventions. The Triforce on top
Oh,
and
that's pretty cool.
and
I always
under the
liked that
bill.
hat. I liked how it had like pop out features. Like those features aren't like sewn in, or they're not
Yeah,
like your typical sewn in like design on a hat. Like this one
yeah.
right here, Unsung. Repping Unsung today because spoiler alert, we have some beer from them today.
Yes,
But
sir.
which actually goes along with us talking about kind of nerd culture right now.
Yep.
So why don't we take a quick little breather and let's go grab our crowlers and let's get this started.
All right.
All right.
And we're back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. So we have our crowler in hand from the great Unsung Brewing Company in Anaheim, California, which is a spot that I've gone to regularly. They have a lot of cool stuff there, actually.
Yep.
For people who are into comic books, superheroes, nerd culture, drawing, like all of the above, this is a great place. It's a great atmosphere. Jimmy, you don't really remember me taking you there, but you actually
We
bought
were
me this
just
hat.
talking about.
You actually bought me this hat.
Yes,
Well,
I remember now.
I was like, hey, I like that hat. And then you were like, okay, here it is. See what great friends I have, guys?
Hey, fool. Honestly, like we went for like a period where we did not like talk much or hang with each other, but like we're always cool with
You
one
know
another.
what? No, I think it was around my birthday last year. Because that's why you bought it for. That's why you bought me the hat.
Probably sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we used to always have like random chill moments. Like, well, I mean, this is gonna be way off topic. Like, but remember, like, we went ghost hunting and what's it called?
Dude.
And like,
Wait.
you're talking shit about my fucking Galant and its high beams, and you're like,
Was that time? Okay. That was the time that we went up to Baldy.
yeah.
We're
You're like,
with
what? You're like, what's
my
up with
homie
this?
Nathan and Gloria.
Yeah.
And we got chased by some Freemasons. We got chased by a swarm of Freemason cars up the mountain. That would be a good story to talk about one day.
It was one day, and like
Oh
you guys
my
were giving
gosh.
me like we went to two different spots. We went like up there, then we went to Claremont, I believe.
Yeah, we went
high
from
school.
Claremont first, and there's this big house there that we were like chilling outside. And I remember we saw like a car coming out and we got like freaked out and we were like, let's go. So we started driving off and this car followed us all the way up the mountain. So we were like freaking out. We're like, the Freemasons are after us.
Well, can I talk about how much you were a backseat driver? Like, because I just put my car in parking. You're like, that wastes a lot of gas, right? Like, you gotta put it in
I
neutral.
was like, just put it in neutral and put your parking brake on.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I still to this day I say that, which is probably not real. It's probably just like superstition. Because I haven't really looked at it. I just heard it one day and I just went with it, So
Yeah, apparently for more than a decade. So
yeah, dude. Yeah, that's been happening. I remember that.
Shit.
But anyways, let's
Yep.
dive into these crowlers that we have because we got different crowlers this time.
Yep.
I really liked the artwork, not on the crowler itself. If you guys are on YouTube and watching, you can see the great design on these crowlers. Unsung has like a superhero comic book theme, which they actually released their own comic book. I don't know how many are in the series, if there are more than one, but I did buy it and lost it the same night. So thanks, Unsung. I'll get another one. But I do remember it was cool. Like they have cool looking characters. It like brings this whole other aesthetic to the brewery, and like it's cool artwork. The beer that I got is an IPA. I went with a West Coast IPA just because the artwork looked cool. And I was feeling an IPA, and it's called Shatter Spike. If you guys go to Unsung's website and you guys, they deliver within an 8-mile radius, I think right now, and they allow to-go beers, and you can buy ahead of time online and then go pick it up or have it delivered to you. So you can see all the artwork for all the cool beers that they have and all the characters and all that stuff that they've created. What do you have, Jimmy?
So I have a light cream ale. It's called the Buzzman. It's 5.2%, and it's
Nice.
It sounded like something like I would want for today. I didn't want something. I don't know. Just a cream ale just sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just go with this.
And I'm not going to be drinking very much within the next week. So I just decided to go hard and get a 7.2% IPA for today. So this is going to be the only thing I'm drinking today.
Whoa. I didn't even know. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
whoa, 7.2%, man.
Well, you were just complaining. It was like, yes, it's hot today. Oh my gosh.
Dude, this is going to make me feel so good, though. This is going to bring me to life. Wake me up. Bring me back to life.
Bring you down. Just kidding. All right. Well, anyways, let's talk about the more of the theme of the brewery. Well,
why don't we open our crowlers and take a drink first, Jimmy?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's hear that beautiful sound.
Yep. There you go. Cheers, brother.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Cheers. Cheers. And look at that can detail, guys.
That's tasty. Actually, really tasty.
This is really good too. It almost has like a faint hint of like grapefruit. I remember when I was like,
you're gonna go there? Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna go there, man. Remember I was like, I'm not that kind of beer guy. No, but I do taste it. It has like a taste of, I don't know if it's like grapefruit or something like it, but it definitely has like a bitter fruit, a bitter type fruit taste.
Yeah. Mine, it's light, it's bright, like it's definitely something I would drink. Let's say just like on a normal day, because I've talked about this with some people before. Like they would ask me like what my go-to beer would be. Yeah, like it just really depends on the day. If it's like if it's like around 2:00, hey, something light. But I've noticed as well, and actually a friend has brought it up, and we'll bring him up later. It's like, it just seems like the brighter the day goes and the darker it goes, the darker the beer, that's how it's always been for me, so like I'll end my night with the stout, but I don't really go for stouts. But
yeah, for me, I think for the last 2 years, it's been nothing but IPAs and micheladas. So that's just kind of where it landed on. I think my girlfriend really latched on to micheladas, IPAs. And from then on, we just kind of both had a mutual love for IPAs, and that's what we get. Whoa!
All right, with what you're drinking right now, with the Shatter Spike IPA, what would you pair that food with? Like if you're just like, I'm hungry.
I would pair this with food, fuck, I don't know. I really don't know much about like food pairings. Like,
No, but what would
if you
you?
talk to me about like wine and like food pairing and
I
beer and
mean,
food pairing, like I really don't know. The cool thing is, I did go to a like beer food pairing for Sanctum, and we talked about this a little bit last time when we had Scott Lucas from Sanctum, the now unfortunately defunct brewery that had to close or is
yeah.
still in the process of closing. I'm not really sure where they're at with all that right now, but I know that they're not providing beer at the moment. But I did go to their food and beer pairing event that they had. We were part of the Inner Sanctum, quote unquote, which was their membership program, which was really fucking cool. It was actually like we get a growler fill once a month, each of us, and we get like a percentage off of bottles. We were allowed to get like the first release of their like special bottles that they were releasing throughout the year. I think they did like 2 that year, maybe. One that was like a whiskey barrel aged stout or something. I remember it being like very strong, like bourbon whiskey flavor. It was really good. But yeah, they had a really cool membership program, and part of that membership program was that we were invited to the food and beer pairing. So we got to try like 3-course meal with 3 different beers. But with that said, I could not tell you what the hell to pair this. Maybe, you know what? Actually, if I were to drink this, if I were to prepare something right now out of the stuff that I have in my fridge, I'd probably make myself some salmon.
Interesting.
I'd probably make myself like some type of like fish dish. Just because this is like light and kind of tangy, kind of sour and still a little bitter. I think it would pair well with like a fish plate. Like even if I wanted to make ceviche right now, I think this might go good with it.
I think with mine, I think I could do like barbecue sliders with like on Hawaiian rolls.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
that sounds like
Well,
that. That definitely sounds like it would go good with a cream ale.
yeah, dude. Like it seems like just like a little pulled pork right here. Just like throw some barbecue sauce on that shit. So like
Damn, man, that
throw
sounds
some coleslaw
good.
on it, and then just like take bites, man. Ooh,
You're
ooh.
making me hungry. Anyways, that's a tangent.
Yeah, a little
Unsung
bit.
Brewing.
Yes.
Unsung Brewing is what we're here to talk about. And like I was saying earlier, they're superhero comic book themed, which is why I have some comic books here. If you're watching the video, and I'm wearing a BB-8 shirt, Jimmy's tapping into his nerd culture as well with his Zelda hat and his Capsule Corp shirt,
From Dragon Ball
which
Z.
isn't necessarily superheroes. I mean, you can consider Dragon Ball Z super people.
Well, I
But
just so happened to throw it on, so whatever.
oh, you just happen to do it. Yeah, I wasn't wearing I changed into the BB-8 shirt because I figured it'd go along with
There's
some
BB-8
of
on
the
the
stuff.
inside, flowery on the
Some of the
outside.
stuff we're
If
going
you
to
ever
talk
see
about.
them.
I mean, nerd culture, man. That's what we kind of come from. I never really read comics as a child. I actually watched the TV series, the comic books, or the cartoons that were on like your Saturday morning cartoons. Like
Ooh.
they had like Batman, Batman Beyond, like the Amazing
Ooh.
Spider-Man,
You know
all
what was
those
badass?
series.
You know what was
What?
badass? Teen Titans, the original one. That was a really
Dude,
good one.
right?
Yeah, that one
Yes, I
was a
used
good
to
one.
love that one. Not the new one, not
Yeah.
the Teen Titans Go,
Yeah,
the
no, that was
fucking
shit.
childish, like playful one.
Yeah.
My girlfriend likes that one, but
No, the original Teen Titans, that one actually got pretty dark. It was pretty
which
good.
actually I have Teen Titans right here.
Oh, I can't
One of the
see.
comics I
Oh
got
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I see
I
now.
got an Iron Man assembled, or Avengers. I don't know what this is. The Invincible Iron Man assembled, and then I have a Teen Titans one right there.
Yeah, that was a cool show, dude. For what it was, I was
Dude,
it was like
right?
a
It
little
was so good.
comical, but
And Slade had. I think that was one of the best. Slade, is it Slade Wilson? That was one of the best Deathstroke embodiments that I like. I think.
like it just. I mean, I understand like why they changed it to go because like the whole demographic of it, just like
Yeah,
because there was a
like
whole
children now
era.
are different than
Yeah,
we were.
yeah.
It's
Like
more about
when
like
they.
cutesy shit and random, like what can I compare it to? Adventure Time. It's like Teen Titans and Adventure Time fused into one, or like
Yeah.
Flapjack or something, you know?
Then this is gonna go a little off rails because like now we're kind of like talking about the Toonami thing, and like, but we're still talking about nerd stuff. What was kind of cool? Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack was great.
Yeah, and then
That's an absolutely
yeah,
phenomenal TV show that ended too shortly, but I think they brought it back
yeah, they
and
revamped it a little bit.
made a new season or something. But I
Yeah,
haven't looked into it. I really haven't dived into it. I
but it
should.
was like it was actually kind of funny though. Is like it was part of the Powerpuff Girl universe.
Oh yeah,
You know that?
that's right.
Or yeah, it was which Powerpuff Girls. I mean, never got into
Yeah,
it, but it was actually kind of a cool show. Like, but once you start like realizing that like it would be Powerpuff Girls, and then like later on in the future, then it was Samurai Jack, which he was a samurai then sent to the future. After
yeah.
everything, so it was pretty crazy.
That's like such an awesome premise too. They should make a
Yeah,
real like samurai or live action Samurai Jack movie, just not fuck it up like most live action movies do. But I think it'd be a cool concept in like the kind of setting like how the DC extended universe does their movies now, how they're very serious and dark. I think that would work well for Samurai Jack. But
is that how you feel with
I think that would be
DCEU?
cool. I think it would be a good feel for a live action Samurai Jack, just a darker tone, more serious, kind of like the last samurai on Earth, who's in the future, like trying to find his way. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. But anyways, I want to talk about
Unsung.
Unsung a little bit. I want to talk about Unsung a little bit before we start diving into more nerd culture. And by the
Yep.
way, guys, this is a special episode because we are diving into a lot of comic book, superhero, nerd culture stuff today, since we are having some Unsung beer today. And their whole theme is superhero comic books.
Yep.
When you go to the brewery, they have comic books on display that you can pick up. It's none of the, I doubt they would put any of the more known ones out because, people are assholes and will ruin stuff and will take it home if they really desired. And so they put out like some of the smaller brand comic books that I've seen. But it's still like a cool thing to do. Like you go have a beer, read a comic book, or actually one of my favorite things that we did there was they have a drink and draw night during the week. They have these people come and host, like they put these big old papers on the table and then they give you like art supplies and you can just draw and color shit however you like. I remember one time I was there, I drew one of their comic book characters, Propeller Head, on the table. So that was cool. I mean, it's a cool experience. Like you just go have your beer, draw, like just have fun drawing, just color and fucking be a kid again.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those nights where they have those wine nights, and you just drink wine and draw or paint, right?
Yeah, like the paint nights. Exactly. That's kind of
Yeah.
what I liken it to, but like a much more fun environment. Because I mean, I've never been to those paint nights, but they seem like it's very structured. As where this isn't like they're showing you how to draw something. It's just like a free for all. Like here's some paper, here's some supplies. Draw to your heart's content. Draw whatever you want and have fun with it. So I thought that was really cool. It was a really cool experience. And there are people that go there, I guess, that like follow those people and like just or are part of that group who host it and just draw like really cool stuff. So it's been a cool experience, like going to Unsung and experiencing that kind of culture, that kind of vibe, where it's different from like other breweries. I think that definitely makes Unsung stand out in my mind. Not
Having
only
a
their
theme.
theme,
Yeah.
not only their theme, but just like like some of the things that they do. Just like they leave comic books out for people to read. They have drink and draw nights, which is such like a cool immersive experience for people to come and drink beer. And like even there was this family one time that we were there, and they give you coasters that you can draw on too. So they give you like those little cardboard coasters so you can draw on and take home, which I have a couple here. So here's a Catwoman drawn by one of our friends. You can't see that, can you?
No, definitely can't. But we could post it on our Instagram.
Here's a Daredevil that I drew.
I could tell.
You can tell. here's a drawing of our old dog Surrey that someone drew of our dog, and then a bunch of other just like random things. So it's like cool. It's on the front It's on the backside of Unsung coasters. So they
which we can
leave a little
actually
space for you to draw, which is pretty cool.
post on our Instagram later, and post
Yeah,
all the coasters that we
definitely.
have. Yeah,
Yeah, I can do that definitely, and kind of show
at the Growler Hour,
Unsung's
please follow
at
on
the Growler
Instagram.
Hour, the Growler Hour, the one and only.
Yes, sir.
Um, but yeah, no, Unsung's cool. Do you remember any like do you remember anything from going there when I took you there?
Well, not too much, but like okay, so I complained about like because when we went over there, or I went over there to pick up this crawler, I mean, um, the parking.
Mm.
Well, no, not
So the
really the
parking
parking.
situation's difficult
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a little bit difficult, but then I realized I'm like, oh, we Ubered over here, being
Yeah.
safe and
Which
responsible.
actually is a good point to bring up because the reason that the parking isn't so great, or there's not like any close parking really, is that it's located right next to downtown Anaheim, in the Anaheim. It's not in the Anaheim Packing House,
Yeah,
but it's
it's
right
right
across the
next to
street
it
from
though.
it's
Yeah.
the Anaheim Packing District, which is such a good location. You can either so Unsung is part of a building that has two other vendors in it, and that's Pali Wine Company, which is just a wine place, and you can get appetizers and charcuterie and all that stuff, which is good if you're, bringing a girl out and she doesn't necessarily like beer. There's a wine place right next door, and they can have wine. And there's also a barbecue joint inside of there. So if you want to eat some barbecue, have some Unsung beer, that's all accessible to you within like a couple steps walking distance. But there's also across the street, there's also walking distance, the Anaheim Packing District, which
Yep.
is, if you've never been there, if have you been there, Jimmy?
Yep. Been there 2 or 3 times. Yeah, it's pretty
So
cool.
okay, so explain like a little bit of what the packing
Um,
district's like.
so the packing district is just like a bunch of vendors. It's like basically going to a mall of foods. So they have different restaurants in there, and it's pretty cool. The times that I've went, they've been having bands play in the center area, and
Right.
which is nice, cool energy. They have some places that serve beer. As long as you stay
Yeah.
within the area, then you're good. But yeah, it's a cool little spot. It's kind of like your market for the like if you're living downtown, like hey, I'm gonna go hang out over here. That's
Yeah.
the way I felt about it. But like you could also it's just yeah, it's a public market. But you can drink there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. They have a ton of great food places in there. Highly recommend the ramen. I don't know if you've ever been to the ramen sushi place that they have there, but the ramen
Can't say
is
that.
great. They have a spicy miso ramen to die for. And there's plenty of other food vendors in there that do great food. I don't want to spend too much time on this and like name all the places, but
Yeah, you're good.
it's such a great environment. Like, you just walk in and it's kind of like artsy fartsy a little bit, kind of hip, cool little place, and you can walk around with your beer and walk around with your food and sit down wherever you want and eat. And so it's cool. They actually have a shabu shabu place in there that's not that bad. We
Well,
went there.
once
I
everything
went there
opens
one
up,
time.
we should probably go there or go to the
Yeah,
one next to me.
yeah, definitely. Oh, I want to go to Shinabu, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
story. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, the packing house is cool. And then just a little further walking distance, there's Anaheim Brewery as well. So if you want to catch two breweries in one trip, you can go to Unsung and then go to Anaheim Brewery, which is just a hop, skip, and a trip away. So
Yeah, it's starting to make more sense about like the whole setup with the winery and the barbecue house,
mhm.
because it's a nice, lovely little setting. If you walk in, you can look to your right, you start seeing you see Unsung in their whole area. Then you
Mhm.
have
Oh,
if you
and
look straight
they have
forward,
like
it's like
such a nice little
benches.
outside patio area too.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
they have the benches, which is straightforward. I believe that's for what the barbecue area. Then you have the place to the left, and then that's probably the wine area
Yeah, it is.
because you
Yeah.
start seeing a bunch of wine bottles. But it has like a certain type of feng shui to it, where like everything works together. So that's
Yeah, it's a nice
also nice.
flow.
Yeah,
That's
like
a good. I'm sure it's not very feng shui appropriate, or I don't know how
Well,
you would say that, but
well,
it definitely has.
it's all
I get what
just
you're saying is that it has like a good flow to it, and the flow, like
yeah,
all about feng shui, is like the flow of energy between the elements, kind of coming together to create this flow of energy through this space. And
yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily feng shui, but I think when you walk in, you definitely feel this like flow of like how things
It
go in there. Cool.
it's like pieces to a puzzle that just work. It's like oh,
Yeah,
like yeah,
definitely, definitely. It's a great vibe. Just that small little lot that has those three vendors. You have a wine place that you can get your appetizers at. There's a barbecue joint that's I've never had it actually because I was vegetarian when I was going
pescatarian.
there, pescatarian when I was going there before. But
Why do I know you
I
more than you?
did used to get brisket for my dog. So I used to get like their just whatever meat that they had, and I'd get like a little small plate and bring it to my dog, and she seemed to love it. So I'm sure it's great. And it's called Hobbs, JAV. Yeah, that's probably like Hobbs, like Javier or something. Hobbs, Javs
Yeah,
barbecue,
I
Hobbs
mean,
barbecue.
honestly, when I went to go pick up the growler, I would have tried some food, but I mean, it's not really a time to just like hang out, just sit anywhere.
Yeah,
It's kind of like,
yeah,
which goes for like a lot of places because there's been so many like breweries that I've been wanting to go to, but it's like, am I really gonna be hanging out here? Like, you don't.
yeah. And the breweries right now, because of COVID situation, you can't sit down and drink unless they serve food. So that's one of the things like Unsung during like the situation right now. Unsung lets you pick up beer and delivers beer, but you can't drink on the premise on the outside patio unless you order food and you present your receipt for the food, which is a good uh, checks and balances measure. But that's how life is right now, which is weird and hard and
Well, it makes more
weird.
sense, because I mean, like, if you're gonna get beer and also get food, I would assume that person would have more of a priority than someone just gonna be drinking beer.
Yeah,
So I mean, like,
definitely.
like I would rather have someone too, just that's gonna hang out, eat your food.
Right.
it's not about money thing. It's like it's also just it makes more sense. Like, hey, like you're just hanging
And
out,
it's a
just drinking
great, you
beer.
know what? It's also like a great kind of neighborly thing, like everybody
Yeah.
supporting each other, since they're all in the same building. Um, if you want to enjoy some unsung beer, also support Hobbs Barbecue. I'm just going to call it Hobbs. I don't know how to pronounce it, but to me, I see JAV Barbecue. So to me, that means Javier, probably Hobbs Barbecue. So that's what I'm going to call it. But it's cool, like a standalone place like that maybe wouldn't get as recognized because it's kind of in the back of that little area and it's in its own small little space. I think it's cool that there's an opportunity during this time for them to still be able to survive and feed people. So it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, just everybody support each other. And like us, we've talked about before, I mean, if you're into craft beer, go support your local brewery,
Yeah,
please.
definitely go support your local breweries. And
You know,
speaking
can,
of supporting, we want to support a couple of our friends on the podcast.
yeah,
And
let's support one of our friends we talked about a little bit earlier, that I brought up just because of like, different times of the day, drinking whatever light beer to darker beer, depending on the
oh,
beer
that's
time
what
of
you were
day.
talking about?
Yep, I was talking about him because
Okay.
I've actually had an episode with him. We kind of talked about it on the last episode, and he has a podcast called Life in Zero Gravity podcast, and you can find him at Instagram at Life in Zero Gravity, and he just
And
talks
that's the
about
number zero. Hold on. You have to like remember to say it's life
right,
in the number zero
right,
gravity.
yes, life
Don't
in
forget that.
numbers, life in the number zero, and I'm saying this in parentheses, zero gravity. So just check
Yeah.
him out. He's a really cool guy, and he actually he asks a lot of questions that are are completely different from the next episode, and he takes his time and just tries to fit in with, he's having the best time of his life right now, just like I'm sure just working on his podcast and
Yeah.
just
And he
supporting.
talks about a lot
He's
of different things. He talks
Yeah.
about like what's going on in the world with the whole COVID situation, what's going on in the world with the Black Lives Matter situation, what's going on in the world. Just in general, he talks about sports. He has a sports segment on there, I've noticed,
Yep.
on all of his episodes. He plays some of his own music on it to intro and outro, or like collaboration music and stuff like that. So it's cool, man. I like that's our homie Zach. I actually
Yep.
have known that guy since third grade. I don't know if you know, but
I actually did not know that.
I went to Baldy View Elementary School in Upland, and we both went there. And I don't know. I feel like I remember him maybe being one of my first friends when I got there because I had just switched schools. Him and this guy Nick, and yeah, I just remember them from that. And so I've known that guy for a long time. Not that we've been like, really good friends all that time or anything. There's definitely been times where, just because we're friends in grade school doesn't mean you're friends, throughout all of grade school and junior high and stuff. But I do like remember talking to him since then, and kind of reconnecting in high school when we all started doing hip hop music and stuff. So, check him out, Life in Zero Gravity, or on Instagram, Life in the number zero gravity, and
Oh,
see
you
what
got it.
he's all about.
Yeah. I met him like
Mm.
probably in high school, and we worked on music together, and we just like hit it off. We just always had like some type of work ethic, trying to get shit done. So
And on the episode where you're featured, you guys talk a little bit about like what that was like in your guys' groups that you had and stuff, right?
yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and yeah, just like every weekend, we were always working on music, talking about certain things whenever we could.
Well, anyways, let's
Oh
move
yeah,
on. This is
yeah.
our
Let's
this is our
let's go.
promotion segment. We're trying
All right.
to
Yep.
help our
Yep.
friends out. And my next friend that I want to shout out is Fiction Los Angeles, cool clothing company, kind of like streetwear lifestyle brand for both male and female. Um, fictionlosangeles.com. You can check out and see all the wares that they sell. I think there's a lot of cool stuff on there. I told my homie I'm gonna buy something, and I have yet to buy it, so I need to do that. And I said that last time too. I was like, I need to start repping, and there's a couple shirts that I want, and definitely need to just do that. But they're cool. It's a streetwear kind of brand, I guess you could say. A lot of graphic type T-shirts. But it's cool aesthetic, cool design. You can find them at fiction.los angeles on Instagram or fictionlosangeles.com. And that's what's up. And also want to just quickly speak about CG Mobile Kitchen, or Common Ground Kitchen, who I got to try, because we talked about last time when we kind of shouted them out, that they are now at Brewery X here in Anaheim, kind of permanently stationed there, at least during these COVID times. But also they helped Brewery X kind of unveil their own kitchen, which is Pizza X. And that's their whole line of pizza that they're making. And I actually got to try it last weekend. It was me and my girlfriend's anniversary last weekend, 5 years. And on that
Congrats.
Friday, what?
Congrats.
Thank you. That Friday, we decided to go to Brewery X after I got off of work, and it was fun. It was a really cool vibe. If you go there, dude, it's huge. It's huge. It's like Golden Road. I want to compare it to Golden Road because that's the only thing that I can think of. It's big. They have a huge outdoor area, which is like their main area pretty much, and then they have their inside tap room where you can order beer, and then they have like another inside that's not open right now, but it's a huge warehouse space that should be filled with tables. It has a little stage for like music to play, and a second tap room, a second bar or whatever right there.
So is it like larger than Ballast Point?
It might. No.
I mean, if they have a warehouse, I don't know.
I would say right now it's about as big. No, well, because that's two different things. Because Ballast Point has 2 stories
It's a 3-tier
on
area,
their
yeah.
space, so I think like the actual like walking areas, like livable areas, there's more at Ballast Point. But Brewery X has like such a great just atmosphere because you walk into the outside patio area, and just like all their decorations and like everything that they have, it's just like it's nice. Like you guys have never been to Brewery X, never seen Brewery X. It's a new brewery that just opened up here in Anaheim.
I
It's
saw
cool.
some of the
Just check it
pictures and it
out.
looked really cool. Like just like
Yeah, it is
it really
really
did
cool.
look like a really cool spot to go
It
to,
is really
especially
cool.
right
And my
now.
boys at Common Ground Kitchen set up shop there for the last, since COVID basically has become a thing in our lives. And so they're stationed there right now serving their own food, which is Latin focused, globally inspired. So like one thing that I can say is that they have a Cubano sandwich that is to die for. Love it. They do different types of flavored wings. They have like a Serrano wings. I can't remember what else they have, but they also have a pastrami banh mi. I haven't had it yet, but it looks bomb. Loaded fries, tots, that kind of stuff. Birria tots. Let me tell you, that birria that they have there is bomb. Have you ever had birria before? It's a
Maybe
Mexican
not.
meat dish.
Maybe not, but I want. Yeah, I'll just say no if I don't know.
Oh, that's right. You're not Mexican anymore since you took 23andMe, huh?
Well, it wasn't me. It was my family, but whatever. Yes, I'm not Mexican anymore. Sorry,
You
guys.
found out that you're not Mexican?
Yeah. We'll talk about this. We'll
Man,
talk
and
about
here
it
I thought
later.
we had a connection. I thought we were familia, man.
Hey, Fulham Brown. Anything else to say about Common Ground Kitchen?
Yeah, follow them. Follow Common Ground Kitchen, number one on Instagram at cg.mobilekitchen. And you can also go to their website, cgmobilekitchen.com. And that stands for Common Ground Kitchen. They are serving up some Pizza X at Brewery X, which they helped to develop their menu, which is fucking awesome, dude. I actually got a chance to talk to one of the guys at Common Ground last time that I went to Brewery X. I just got to chat with him and just like talk about like how this all kind of came about. And since they've always like gone around to different breweries and cooked food there, they were lucky enough to, I don't know if they got invited or they just kind of like presented an opportunity to Brewery X, but they got the opportunity to kind of stand side by side with Brewery X during this time, create a menu for Brewery X, and also have their own kitchen inside of Brewery X for right now, which is fucking awesome, dude. Kudos to those guys. And again, that's cgmobilekitchen.com or cg.mobilekitchen on Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm happy for them, being able to build a rapport to where like, they could just like talk to people like, hey, let's work it out. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I'm going to be going
glad
to
for them.
Brewery X the weekend, one of these weekends, in a couple of weeks for my birthday. And we're going to go to Brewery X for the day and have some Common Ground Kitchen because that's what I want. I want a Cubano, man.
Let's do it. I'm
It's
down.
bomb. Yeah. Anyways, shout out to them. Thank you to all the people who have supported us in some way, because all of these people who we've mentioned right now have supported us. So I just want to give a quick thanks to Zach from Life in Zero Gravity, Joseph from Fiction Los Angeles, and the people at Common Ground Kitchen. So thank you guys. Appreciate your support. And we're here to support the local breweries, the local talent, our local friends, the local food, and everything in between. That's kind of, I think that's in a sense what our mission is here, huh, Jimmy?
Yes, sir. I believe in that.
That's right. So a quick story, because we were talking about, what were we talking about?
We were talking about, holy shit. Now that you mention it, I'll probably come up later. It probably doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, it was either a lie or it wasn't important, and that's why I can't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't important. So how far along are you with that IPA, bro?
Can't see, but if I can kind of give a feeler, I'm probably almost halfway.
Right here.
I'm about I'm a little lower than you, I think. I can't really tell, but by feel, I think I'm like right there.
Taking sippy sips.
Yeah, I'm trying to, just like a little bit here and there. I don't want
All
to
right.
finish it too quick, and I don't want to get drunk too quick.
We got plans later or what?
No, no, nothing to do tonight. But I also just, I'm home alone today, so I don't really want to be drinking by myself. Maybe I'll have a glass of whiskey later, just to, because I like whiskey on the rocks. It's one of my
Yeah,
guilty
sometimes it's pretty
pleasures.
nice. Have you ever tried just making like an old fashioned for yourself or what?
I did. I've done it once. I'm not into like making mixed drinks for myself, or anyone for that matter. I've never really cared to. I'm not like a mixed drink guy. I always have, whatever drink I want on the rocks or neat, or I have beer. Um, if I order a drink, it's because I feel like being fancy that night or something. If I go to a place where they have specialty drinks, I'll have some. Like, speaking of the packing district earlier, there's a boxcar wine inside of there, and they're on the bottom level. They're in an old boxcar, like a train boxcar,
Yep.
and it's inside the packing district, and it's like a little. It's almost like a speakeasy, but it's not because there's a real speakeasy inside the packing district. But that's another story. But Boxcar, it's like a small little fancy drink place. You can get wine or you can get the drinks that they have there. And so I remember they had like a peanut butter old fashioned or something. Because the bartenders there, the mixologists, I guess, they go in there and they like have daily drinks that they make or whatever. Like whoever's working that shift, they write on the chalkboard what their drinks are for that day. It seems like.
Well, I
It
mean,
was cool. It was a cool experience, but I've never like made drinks for myself.
I think after all this, we should all like go around like to Anaheim and start hitting up the spots like
No, definitely.
your old stomping grounds, and we should go see some places over here too. But
No, definitely.
anyways, so like we chose Unsung Brewery, and because we want to nerd out this time.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do
that's
it.
right.
Let's talk about it.
We're gonna be nerds today. We're gonna talk about comic books, superheroes, Star Wars, anime, fucking everything in between, man. We just want to talk nerd culture today because I think that we identify with it, right, Jimmy?
Hell yeah. I mean, dude, okay. I'm such a nerd in a way that like I guess I went swimming once, and I guess my so one of my parents were asking me, or asking the other parent was like, "Hey, did you teach him how to swim?" And then they're like, "No." Like, so I was just swimming because we had a swimming pool, and because eventually they're like, "How'd you learn how to swim?" I learned from swimming from Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
What?
Not gonna lie, dude.
That's how you learn to swim.
Fuck yeah.
Like, what does that mean? You got an
I don't
upgrade in the
know.
game and it transferred into your real life, and all of a sudden you could swim?
And I was like, I could do this, and I just did
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah.
I
I don't know
can't
what you're
remember
talking
the
about.
first time I tried to swim. I remember when I first was a kid and was trying to get into the pool, I would just like hang on the side and like climb over to the deep end, and that was my form of swimming.
I mean, yeah, you got to figure out like how to like, I don't know, like what that term was, where you're just gonna like waddle in the water. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
well, anyways, nerd culture. First thing I kind of wanted to hit on today, because I think it's the most popular avenue for comic book superhero culture right now, which is the cinematics or the film industry, media, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Extended Universe, or should I say, the MCU versus the DCEU. Who is better? Who has the better strong? Who has the better foothold inside of the cinematic universe? And like what has it done for comic book culture? And I think for a long time it seemed like comic book people who read comic books were portrayed as nerds, geeks, and like it was kind of like the butt of everybody's joke. But now it's done a complete 180, and we have all these films that are beloved by millions. Like they're the biggest movies coming out. The Avengers was the biggest movie of all time.
yeah, and that's one thing too. Like even
Endgame,
if like
Avengers
for
Endgame. I have to clarify
yeah,
that. Sorry.
Well, it was a two-part, Infinity War and Endgame,
Mhm.
but as for the culture wise, it did take a 180 for all aspects between like even the MCU, DCEU, and even like anime, because like now you had like people that like started like being, especially with social media, it turned in a certain way where people used like a lot of that influence to like start doing cosplay.
Yeah,
Just dressing up as characters, they started getting a lot more popular, which is great, all fine for them. But
yeah,
it opened up a whole different avenue for people to get fans in certain different ways. And just, I mean, not
yeah,
saying like they're not genuine about it, but it's definitely a lane for sure.
yeah. Whereas Comic Con before used to be like something for the nerds and the weirdos to do, and
Yeah,
now
do the
everybody like
panels.
it's become like the cool thing to do once a year.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah,
wonder.
if you were to think about it, like say back, like if you liked it in, like say for us middle school, which would be like what 15 years ago, we would not.
Middle school, yeah, that's like 02, 03. That's a
Yeah,
long
so
time ago.
I
No, no,
graduated
no,
in,
I'm
yeah,
wrong. That's
graduated
04,
09.
05. 04,
Yeah,
05.
so about 15
04,
years
05.
ago. So like you would not be cool at all, because that is what kids did not find cool. But now
Oh, yeah.
I think the exposure with the internet, people are starting to find it cool now.
Yeah, back then it was definitely like clicky, kind of used like it was at least Upland because you went to Pioneer, right?
Yeah.
I went to Upland Junior High, and at least at Upland Junior High, it was very clicky. There was definitely like the people who were popular, the cheerleaders and the jocks, and there
Yeah.
was definitely like the goth kids who were just like the outcasts, and then there were like everyone in between. There was always the anime nerds is like their
Oh
own
yeah.
separate thing. Not even like the comic book nerds. It's just like anime has its own clique. Um, rock music in general is just like all the goth kids. That's just it. If you like rock, you're huddled in with them. And then everyone else was kind of just like in between, or you had to be the cheerleaders and the jocks at the time.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
it's
if
cool.
Pioneer was like that at all.
It's cool though now, especially with just all the exposure that it is. Like it doesn't make kids uncool to like it, Like not
Yeah.
like times have changed, so it's like I don't know if you want to call it PC themselves, but they kind of did, So now it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool just to actually
No,
like
but
it, and
it's
you can't
good. I
really
think
just
I think
yeah
that kind of
people
goes
about it.
along with like the world slowly wising up and realizing that we have all been really shitty for the last 200 years, and now there's some change coming out of it finally, and it comes with respecting people's body types and respecting people's culture and respecting races and respecting what people are into. There's just like a lot of, and I mean, I'm not in junior high anymore, I'm not in high school, so I don't know how the kids are right now.
That'd be
If
kind of
that's
weird.
still like prevalent, which I'm sure it probably is in some way, but I think a lot of the people now are starting to shed light on these issues that people who were bullied before are now not necessarily yeah, they're more respected now. Like people are starting to just be nice, seems like, hopefully.
Yeah, I think the people that I knew in high and middle school that were like dabbling into the whole anime culture and or just whatever phase. I think they were also kind of like goth too. It was kind of like, it was like a mixture.
Yeah,
It was like a little bit.
yeah. Well, you remember, like up in high school, all the kids who were into anime were also like the wannabe goth kids.
Yeah,
Sorry, I guess I just that's what I used to call them, were the quote unquote wannabe goth kids. Um, but whatever. That's all. That's all. Here I am
that's
bullying
a.
the wannabe goth kids.
Hey, well, it was a moment in our lives, So it was like
Yeah, yeah,
that
no,
was everything
definitely.
that everyone had experienced, because we had different clubs. Sometimes I would go, and then sometimes I wouldn't, and then I'd just be like, yeah. I just kind of like hung out with different people too. And I was like,
Yeah,
I never had like one spot to hang out with, but
yeah. But back to MCU versus the DCEU.
yes.
Uh, let's take your take on it, Jimmy. What do you like? If have you seen the movies? Hold on, I'm going to turn my fan on a little higher because it is getting hot in here. And anyways, what's your take on, I guess, the MCU versus the DCEU? Have you
Okay.
watched? both
So
sides of the movies,
yes.
and what do you like? What do you prefer, and what do you like out of
Um,
both of them?
I mean, to me, honestly, it'll be very unanimous. I mean, MCU, of course, but there are different reasons why. It's not just because it was great movie and great scripting and everything. The thing is, the DCEU had to catch up. So they compartmentalized a lot of their stuff in the later years when
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
when MCU had already laid the tracks of what they're going to be putting out, everything storyline and everything led up to the Infinity War, the Endgame, and then they had like a whole
Yeah.
saga that just ended. They were ready for it.
Yeah.
DCEU, they were just catching up and they were just making it like they didn't have enough time to just like because even with Batman, you know I wish Christian Bale they had that type of setting still that they
Where
made.
is he?
Yeah, exactly. But it was a different vibe to it compared to like more comic booky when it was with DCU.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's okay.
I was
So,
more
like,
comparing to
talking
Endgame.
about that, like the Dark Knight series, not necessarily, what was it, Batman Returns or Batman Forever?
Batman Rising, I think.
No, 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 Dark Knight Rising.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was the Dark Knight Rising, but before that, there was a prequel which had nothing to do with Dark Knight in the name. It was like Batman Returns or Batman
Begins.
Forever. Batman Begins. That's what it
Yep.
was. Yeah, Batman Begins. It was an all right movie. But the Dark Knight, the first like official Dark Knight, was what propelled for me. I think that one propelled comic books and nerd culture in the film industry. Like that was a starting point for everything. Like
Yep.
Iron Man, I think Iron Man was coming out around the same time. I can't remember because that was probably in like 2008, 2009 maybe that the Dark Knight came out. I can't really remember, but
Yeah.
it definitely, like, I think that was what jump started the comic book movie craze for me because it was such a well written movie.
Which
Everybody
one?
loved it.
You're talking about Dark
Everybody
Knight?
loved it. Dark Knight with Heath
Okay.
Ledger as
Yeah.
Joker.
Yeah.
Heath
Yeah.
Ledger
Yeah.
did such a good job as the uh,
Joker.
as the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Christian Bale not so much as Batman, but that's a whole
I
another
mean, like
story. I think
just
the
the setup
Joker
was good.
carried that movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Heath
it's
Ledger
just
carried that movie.
the setup and the vibe was really good. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I won't knock Christian Bale, but yes, he
I
may
will.
have or may have not got like maybe a better actor, but or like or not.
Commissioner,
I won't say a better
Commissioner,
actor.
tell me what we need to do.
I won't say
Rachel,
better.
where is he?
All right, I won't say better actor because Christian Bale is a good actor, but it's
No,
also
Christian
like
Bale's a
yeah,
phenomenal actor.
yeah, but it's
Phenomenal.
just
But I
maybe
think
not for the
his take on
character.
Batman, his take on disguising his voice for Batman was
Well, how'd you feel about Ben Affleck?
uh I can't say because
It was one movie
I
or two
watched
movies, right?
Batman versus Superman. Was that the first one he appeared in?
Yeah, then I think I went to what Justice
Yeah.
League.
Yeah. Okay, so
I didn't
Batman
watch.
versus Superman, I watched when I was already drinking, so I don't really remember it. But I just got HBO Max, so I started watching it the other day and I need to finish it. But I'm digging Ben Affleck as Batman. I really am. I think he has, first of all, I think he has like the stature for it. I think he kind of does remind me of Bruce Wayne, like the original Bruce Wayne's in the comics, and well, at least in the cartoons. I was just saying because I am the cartoon kid. I am a Saturday morning comic book cartoon kids. I can't say that I grew up reading comic books because I didn't. I started diving into comic books a little later, but I can't say that I'm very well versed in the comic book world. What I do know are the Saturday morning cartoons, and I will tell you that from that, I think Ben Affleck represents Batman in the way that I remember. From what I remember in the Batman versus Superman movie that I still need to continue watching and finish. But I kind of going back to the Dark Knight, like Dark Knight kind of set a tone for what the DCEU was going to be
Yep.
in the future because I don't think that's part of the DCEU. I think the world that they're kind of creating right now is, but I may be mistaken. But I think that kind of set up the tone where Marvel is quirky, it's funny, and that's kind of actually that's the rivalry that like Marvel and DC have had for over 60 years or however long it's been. Was that when Marvel started and was battling when DC started before Marvel, DC was very serious, had a lot to do with, like, I wouldn't say real issues, but was just more like serious in tone. Marvel came out, I think it was Action Comics. No, Action Comics was DC. I don't know. Anyways,
Yep.
I think it was Timely Comics or something like that. And that became Marvel. And when Marvel was struggling to kind of like pave its way in the comic book industry, they like survived in their own lane that stays true today, where they're a little more comical. They're a little more like lighthearted in a way. And the MCU right now, I think people identify with the MCU a lot more right now because it's very quirky. It's very comical. A lot of people can get into it. It's not just, I'll put it in these terms. My girlfriend can sit down and watch an MCU movie with me sometimes, because they're kind of funny. Because she likes like the comedy in it. She likes like certain aspects of it. If I were to try to sit down and have her watch Man of Steel, she would be bored within 5 minutes. So I think that's kind of why the MCU is more well received by audiences. So I mean, I kind of agree with you. I think I prefer Marvel more, and I've had friends who have told me like, you only like Marvel because they're comedic and like this and that. Like the DC universe is so much better. Like it's so much more well written and this kind of stuff. And that's fine if you think that, and that's your opinion. And I have my own opinion. And I can't say that I can say that they're both different. They both have their own respective lanes inside the comic book film industry. And so is one better than the other? I think it's subjective to everyone's opinion, because I mean, really, if you look at numbers only tell you like the number of people that watched it during the opening weekend or during the entire life of it being in the movies. That only tells you what's better received by audiences. But does that really, it's almost like, okay, let's compare it to like hip hop music. Do you think that like Lil Yachty or like someone like Lil Pump is better than Tupac because he's more well received right now? Because, you know, certain aspects, the way the music industry is set up right now, there's more people listening and there's more people identifying with these artists. So does the audience, the number of views or the number of ticket sales, does that mean more than the actual content? Does that make sense? So
it makes sense to a point,
cinematic universe, does it have better content, or does the Marvel cinematic universe have better content? What do you think?
I think the thing is, when it comes down to the difference in setup. So the thing is, there was a lot of character buildup when it came to the MCU. They had enough time.
Definitely.
So it was over like what, 10 years. So you're able to
and they started with Iron Man very slowly, and then built it from there once it was kind of better received.
And so that's what I meant when it came down to the DCEU having to catch up, and they had to compartmentalize all that time. And like everyone knows the story, but everyone wants to see the actual story. Like not like, I mean, because it's gonna be like a different actor. It's gonna be a different Batman. You know, it's like that's a whole different lane.
It always is.
You know, because you're gonna have to like you gotta reboot it basically, and that's why but like we've kind of talked about it before. That's why I was a little bit happy that they never made like another Hulk movie, just because they kept on trying to reboot it. I forgot the first guy, but then they had Edward Norton.
It was Edward Norton, who's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, I mean that was the second.
Or are you talking about Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah, so
like the old school one from like the 70s?
No, actually, no. Wait, well, I mean, they have him, but then they had one that was forgot his name. No, there was another one before that.
Not that one?
Yeah, no.
It was
So
probably someone who I don't know. I really don't know. I only
yeah,
what
couldn't
like I
look it up.
said, I only watched the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, so they rebooted it like so. I mean, they had the show, one movie like back in like I think '06. No, maybe around then. Then they had Edward Norton.
I
No,
thought Edward
probably
Norton
no.
didn't do a bad job,
It
but I
wasn't
think the
bad.
films weren't that great to begin with.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just like I was a little bit happy that they didn't reboot that one. Or I mean, if they do, then they do. At least we'll have like an actor that I was
Well,
comfortable with.
the the thing is that I really like oh shit, what's his name? I'm blanking. The new Hulk.
The new
Fuck.
Hulk.
Why am I forgetting his name? I have
Do you
to
want
look
to
this up right now.
do you want to take a
I
pause?
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just unless you need a pause.
I'll go wait a few minutes.
Okay. So what the frick is his name? Um I'm gonna feel so stupid. I do feel so stupid. Fucking Mark Ruffalo. Oh, and I think the Hulk that you were talking about before was Eric Bana.
Maybe.
Eric
Yeah, that
Bana,
was a kid.
yeah, it was probably him. Well, anyways, Mark Ruffalo. I like Mark Ruffalo's take on the Hulk, and I do feel kind of let down that there was no origin movie for the Hulk. I get that this MCU that we're in right now really didn't give much of a backstory to a lot of the characters, but I feel like Mark Ruffalo does such a good job as Hulk that he deserves like his own standalone movie in some way, even if it's not the origin story, even if it's just something to propel him into the end of the Hulk or the new era of the Hulk, which I think they're going to make in the new Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're making She-Hulk. They're going to bring her in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I would like to see a proper movie for the Hulk with Mark Ruffalo. That's just my own opinion,
I mean, yeah. I mean,
but
I
I
like this
don't
Hulk
think it's ever going to
because
happen.
me either. Because they had the whole setup, everything that ended and everything that happened. So like, it's kind of like a little bit too late. I mean, if anything, around the time Thor Ragnarok came about, I think they might have needed that just for that character in general.
I think,
Yeah.
okay, that's a whole nother point is that I thought Thor Ragnarok, because their inspiration for Thor Ragnarok was, or the Hulk in Thor Ragnarok was pulling from, was it Planet Hulk? Or is it
I think I
Planet
know what you're
Hulk
talking
or
about.
Hulk Galaxy? Something like that. There's a whole other story for the Hulk where he goes off into space and I think he starts ruling this entire planet. And it's I don't really remember the story that well, but mainly because I never really read it. I just kind of read the synapse on like wherever I could find it. But I think it was Planet Hulk, and I think that would have been such a cool storyline to kind of dive into, and that's where they drove inspiration from for bringing the Hulk into Thor Ragnarok. And I think everything leading up to that could have been its own movie. And I'm really
Probably.
there are a lot of missed opportunities in the MCU, but I get that they're trying to stick to like a certain formula and a certain like we've already propelled the MCU into this like what it is right now. Let's not like dive into everyone's origin story. Let's just kind of
Yeah.
propel what's going on. So
Yeah. I mean, they had like the end game, was with the Tesseract, So
mhm.
like so like all the short little clips that they had at the end was all pointing towards this, towards
Yeah.
towards one lane. So yeah, I totally understand why they wouldn't do it, but you know, it's pretty cool as it is. I mean, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but yeah. So back to your main question about MCU or DCEU. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the only reason why. That's the main reason why I would choose MCU, just because they had more structure and foundation with the characters. You can get a feel for them. They're all flawed characters. I mean, each and every one of the heroes, like from MCU and DCU has certain flaws, but when it comes down to it, like just Marvel had enough time. They've worked on it for many years, and it's
Yeah, I
just
definitely think the people behind the MCU, the entire like media team that they have for it, Kevin Feige, and I think, well, I'm not going to dive into that, but Kevin Feige being the head of, or the, I don't know, the head of the whole MCU, um, I think has really like hit. I don't know. I don't really. I'm like stumbling over my words because I don't really know. Like I don't know too much. So I'm
either.
trying to draw from what I do know, and so I think Kevin Feige has helped uh, the MCU have a level head, if that makes sense. Um, I think he's helped keep it on track for what it is and helped it propel into what it is going to be. And I'm kind of waiting to see how people are going to receive the phase 4 that's about to happen, because there's a lot of I guess lesser known to the general public characters that are going to be introduced, like Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, I guess, isn't very popular. I mean, like everyone knows the Captain America, everyone knows Thor, everyone knows Spider-Man, everyone knows Daredevil in some capacity. I think it's cool that they're, and Nova's another not so
Oh,
known. Moon Knight. There's a ton of characters that they're introducing that aren't necessarily the main focus of what most people know of comic books. So I'm kind of interested to see like how that plays out. Is it still going to be this driving force in the industry that it is right now, or are people not going to be as receptive to these quote unquote new characters coming in phase 4? Because there's a ton of movies that are already planned for phase 4 that are introducing characters again that aren't so well known among the common fans, you know?
yeah. I mean,
Um,
even me, like I'm not like super nerd about it, but like like I'll follow
right.
here and there. I mean, I love it. It's still like something fun, like a little safe space to kind of like just get out of your element a little bit. Just like yeah, let's dive into it like a story and stuff. But like
Right.
so I mean, so when you ask me between MCU, DCU, I don't like to choose sides because I understand what they are for each
I
other.
do.
I mean, I don't like to do it, but it's like because like they have the film industry, but then they also have like the comic book side of it, and I'm just
But
like,
we're only talking about the
yeah,
films.
yeah, I know that's
That's
why
what
I'm
I
just,
mean by
but that
MCU versus
that's
DCEU. We're
that's why like
talking specifically
that is why it breaks me apart because I'm
about,
like I know what they're trying to do, but I don't really like it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, and I'm not trying to like force sides. I'm not like, this isn't a place for us to be like, oh well, this is right and this is wrong. It's just,
yeah,
we're sharing our opinions. And for me, I
I know
definitely follow the
so many
MCU
people.
so much closer than I would the DCEU. Like I said, I haven't watched Batman versus Superman. Well, I did, but I drank a little bit, so I don't really remember it. So I'm trying to rewatch it. But I wasn't a big fan of Man of Steel. A lot of it was just expositional story that I guess people who call themselves intellectual would say, oh well, it just has
Oh,
a better storyline. You couldn't deal with it because it doesn't have enough action for you and enough comedy, whereas Marvel's set up to like keep the weak-minded and the short attention span entertained, which I get. But at the same time, it's my opinion, and if I'm entertained by MCU more than I am the DCEU, that's how I feel. So I go MCU all the way.
yeah, I'll
And I'm
go
excited for
MCU all
Phase
the
4.
way. And this will kind of like go into like a different thing we were talking about earlier, as series.
Mhm.
Kind of like third party series. Like
Like the
so
Defenders.
like the Defenders. But before we get into that, like when it came down to like Superman, they had that show Smallville. That was a pretty good show.
Oh yeah, that was a cool.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't really like it. I didn't even know it was about Superman to be
Oh,
honest.
really?
I caught a few episodes like here and there when I was growing up, and I really didn't know. I literally just thought, like, because I didn't know Smallville was the name of the like town that Superman actually landed
Yeah.
in the comic books. Like I didn't know any of that. So like I didn't know what that show had to do with. I just knew it's a guy with like superpowers, and so I just really didn't know until later when I like rewatched it as maybe like being in high school or something. I started to understand what it was about, and I liked it. It was cool. Smallville, I think, was like the first step in making like a good comic book adaptation of a TV series,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But
So, actually, before we get really into that, and the defenders want to take a break.
sure. All right. So we were talking a little bit about like Phase 4 of Marvel that's coming up, and there's a ton of movies. Like I was saying, there's movies of like characters that most people, the general public, aren't gonna know, and some of them that I don't know either, which is fine. Like I'm not a huge. I can't say that I know comic books that well, but there are a lot of movies coming out soon. First one being Black Widow. How do you feel about that? Because Black Widow really isn't like a star character.
Yeah, it was more of a supporting character
But
to me.
she's definitely been a supporting character. Um, but it has the potential to be a good movie because I know that they're gonna dive into, if you remember in Infinity War I think it was Endgame, where they were talking about like what happened in
With the 5 years when everyone's gone.
Yeah, but they were talking about like the incident in Bolivia or wherever it was. I can't remember now. But I heard that they're going to dive into what that incident was in the Black Widow movie. And Taskmaster, if you know who Taskmaster is, he's going to be the supposed villain in the Black Widow movie. Taskmaster is the guy with the hood and he has a skull for a face. Do you remember him?
No,
He's like a
not
martial
really.
arts expert who he can like learn anyone's fighting style, and he's like a master marksman and like stuff like that. You can learn anyone's fighting style and mimic it. But anyways, Taskmaster, he's pretty cool.
You know, that was kind of a. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'll bring up what I was going to.
No, I'm good. That's all I was gonna say. Was that Taskmaster? I mean,
So,
I want to get into more Phase 4 movies. If you want to do that before you start talking about something else.
yeah, what I was kind of hoping for was with Spider-Man and then bringing up the Sinister Six, because they brought Mysterio in.
Yeah.
With like
I'm
Sandman.
still talking about Phase 4 movies, man.
Oh, I know.
I mean, okay. Well, talking about Phase 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
that's
definitely. I think the thing is that the Andrew Garfield movies set up the Sinister Six. Okay, before we move on, what's your take on the Andrew Garfield the Amazing Spider-Man movies? How did you like him? Because a lot of people did not like the way he portrayed Peter Parker, which I get. But I really like those movies. I thought they were good.
For the Amazing Spider-Man, right?
The Amazing Spider-Man, yeah, with Andrew Garfield and.
It was kind of like how I felt.
Remember anyone's names?
I don't know. It was kind of like how I felt about like a DC movie, like just like a little more comical.
Emma Stone.
I get it.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Emma Stone, who played Gwen Stacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought those were good movies, but anyways, no, I agree. I think. Well, the cool thing is that supposedly, from what I read, Tom Holland.
Holland, yeah.
I just mixed Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland.
Damn it.
Tom Holland has signed up for a number of Spider-Man movies. I think 6 or something. I can't remember. But I saw that news, and so I'm hopeful that there's going to be a whole series of Spider-Man movies that will have their own, like the MCU. They'll have their own universe because it's going to be Sony. Yeah. Hopefully in close proximity to Marvel, because I think without Kevin Feige and a lot of the supporting staff that are helping propel this MCU right now, I think it could fall into the Sony curse, which is just making shitty movies,
Oh man,
like the original Spider-Man ones. Well, they were shitty. They were good. They were good for what they were at the time.
Venom was pretty good. I liked Venom.
Venom wasn't bad. It was
But
it was a
like,
good standalone movie for what
yeah,
it was. It's just Venom needs. I feel like Venom needs to have
it was like I was
be
watching
introduced
Transformers
into
all
the
over again or
Spider-Man
something.
universe. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get into some more Phase 4 movies because I'm
All right.
really excited for what's in store because there are some Disney Plus series that are coming out, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which could be pretty cool.
Okay.
I like the idea of it. There's also WandaVision, and then they're also making a Loki standalone series, which might be cool. Might be
Yeah.
really, really, really cool.
And this is all on Disney Plus, you
I
said?
feel like, yeah, Disney Plus. I
Okay.
think a lot of people love Loki as he is in the MCU, and I think it has potential to be a really good show. Uh, but there's a ton of movies coming out. I already mentioned Black Widow, which is the first one lined up to be a movie. They're making The Eternals. Rumored Angelina Jolie is cast as one of the Eternals, which, if you know anything about it, I believe they're the ones who basically gave birth to Thanos, and they're like these gods or entities, like divine entities, in the MCU universe. Who I think there's 4 of them. Can't tell you for sure because I don't remember much. I didn't dive too deep into those characters, but that seems like it'll be cool. Maybe it'll like help set up like an origin story for Thanos that we didn't really get to see. So that's kind of like cool. They're making Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm ready for another Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah,
I
same.
really, really like the way Benedict Cumberbatch plays Doctor Strange. I really liked the Doctor Strange standalone movie, number 1. And then when he met everyone in Infinity Wars, it
Yep.
just kind of like he just really meshed well with the rest of the cast. I think Marvel Studios has a knack for choosing the perfect actors for a role, in my opinion. At least the main actors. I think they did a good job with Tony Stark. I think they did a really good job
Captain America
with
was good.
Captain America. Oh yeah. Chris Evans did a
Yes.
really good job portraying Steve Rogers. I mean, come on, Thor. He. I feel like had this been the old Thor from the original comics, maybe not. But where this universe is right now and it has to be relevant and modern, I think he's a perfect fit. Like I was saying earlier, Mark Ruffalo I think is my favorite Hulk so far. He really does a good job at portraying that character. Even Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, I think she really fit the role in a way, to the point where Black Widow may not have had a standalone movie before, and
Yeah.
now she does. There's also the new Spider-Man that's going to be coming out, which hopefully, like you said, we'll be seeing a little introduction to the Sinister Six. I was saying that Tom Holland has signed up for plenty more movies, so there's a whole world that can be explored within the Spider-Man universe. What sucks with movies in the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man, Sam Raimi was the director, and with Tobey Maguire movies.
Everyone got
What
weird, dude.
sucks? What sucks? I think the third one did get weird. The third one, and that's usually what happens with sequels, which sucks. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that this Marvel Cinematic Universe is able to bring life into sequels because Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is one character that has so much life, so many like different villains, so many like collaborations with other heroes, and like so much potential to be a series of movies, like a long series of movies, but it just depends on how they portray him and how they make him grow and stuff. And the downfall of a lot of movies and even TV shows is that when they go too long, they start losing the originality, they start losing the heart. And like, I'm really hoping like Tom Holland and Marvel Studios and Sony can continue working together and create a real like long series of movies for Spider-Man that can really go in depth for what the character really is, because there's so much to explore. I mean, you can't just throw the Sinister Six in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have like a movie with like at least one or two of them being like the main villains, you know? And depending on which Sinister Six like variation you want to choose, because there's many different ones. I really like the one in the video game. I don't know if you played Spider-Man video game. PS4.
I think the recent one. I think I've watched either you or Bubba play it.
It was pretty cool though. You
cool.
watched Bubba play it for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe not me, but shout out to Bubba, our homie.
Yeah, what's up, Bubba?
That's our guy. He lives in San Diego, California. Go look for him somewhere. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
No, but okay. So, want to finish getting through these movies. We talked a bit about Spider-Man, and I'm excited for those. I kind of went off on a tangent because I am excited. And I'm talking a lot right now because I'm trying to get through these. But we still have a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to get through. I'm excited for. Another Captain Marvel obviously needs to happen, and I think it's confirmed. Ant-Man 3, because who doesn't love Paul Rudd? Come on. And Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm really excited for. Apparently, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but it's confirmed that Natalie Portman's coming back as Jane. Is her name Jane?
You know, it's been a long time since I saw those first two. Yeah,
I should know this. I like how we're like talking about like comic book culture, like we know it, and we really just don't.
No, I mean
Jane Foster. Yeah, her name was Jane Foster. This is Jane Foster. I'm glad that Natalie Portman's coming back as Jane Foster, because she kind of just like, if you watch the second Thor, was it the second one or the third one? It was the third one, where she just kind of like dropped off the face of the earth, and he was like, oh well, she does not like me anymore because she couldn't deal with my crap because I'm Thor.
Hey, you're kind of getting the accents now.
I liked it, right? Yeah, I did good. Let's not dive deeper in, because I will turn into Irish or something, and let's just not talk about it. Although, favorite scene in Thor, he has the mug in hand, or the whatever kind of, you know, at the point he has a glass in hand. It's like, this drink, it's delicious. Another, and smashes it on the ground. That's my favorite scene of all time.
Hey, keep going, dude.
Anyways, we still have Guardians of the Galaxy to get to. We have Captain Marvel, Ant-Man 3. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd?
I love Paul Rudd. That guy is so
Thor:
funny.
Love and Thunder. As I was saying, like, I'm excited for Natalie Portman to come back and take the mantle of Thor, possibly, because they did hint at the fact that she would be holding the hammer. So she might become Lady Thor. And then there's another person who takes up the mantle of Thor, who we might start seeing. But that's exciting to kind of dive into. And of course, there's Black Panther 2. I am a huge fan of the Black Panther movie. I fucking loved it. I think it has such a great story. It had such great characters. The development of it, like everything about it, like I think was so great. And I'm so excited to see like
everything about it, like even like the music, dude.
Yeah, dude, the music. Which, shout out to Ludwig Göransson, who is the person who scored the movie, who also used to do music for TV shows like 30 Rock. He's a close collaborator and producer for Childish Gambino. And he was the one who got contracted to do the scores, the cinematic music for the Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I mean the whole setup, the whole like just premise of it, it was structured very well. Like the storyline, even just down to the music. Like it's, you know, the music will always
Michael
set a
B.
tone.
Jordan, what a great performance, dude! Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. It was
T'Challa and Killmonger. like had such like great chemistry together, like as opposing as nemesises.
Yeah.
Like they just
Yeah,
had
I was just
such
saying.
good chemistry. Like it worked so well. I thought that was an exciting movie, and I'm so excited to see a second one for
Yeah,
sure.
same here, dude. I mean, I didn't even know. Now I'm learning new things too.
Yeah.
Who did
Well, I
that?
did look up what Phase 4 movies are coming out just to refresh my memory, and I wrote them down because I thought it'd be important to talk to, I mean, talk about,
Yeah,
Can't
you
talk to the
know.
movies, talk about them.
Yeah. So, um, well, I'm glad to hear all this stuff's coming out, dude. I mean, honestly, think that's what like
Yeah.
a lot of people need right now, especially just something to look forward to. I mean, I'm not sure like how much production will be going into right now, especially, but dude, like I had
Yeah. Well, a lot of
like
things have been pushed back. Even Black Widow just got pushed back, and that was supposed to be the first movie
yeah,
to come
because I
out.
mean,
So,
for the past few years with this whole like MCU stuff, just the Marvel universe, um, dude, I was looking forward to movies at least twice a year, two or three times maybe.
oh, yeah.
And dude, well, once they had Endgame, I was like, guess I'm not gonna go to the movies for a while.
Yeah, they definitely took a hiatus to kind of build up what the Phase 4 is going to look like. And for the fans, it's tough. Like, I feel like we're in the generation that's going to see so many Marvel movies start coming out in the next, like, not even the next few years, like in the next 2 decades, I think, that are going to be such classic movies. And again, like I was saying earlier, I'm interested to see how well received it is by audiences everywhere, especially introducing like all these new characters that people don't really know about. Even the people who like take up the mantle of Thor, uh, like you can even have the Frog Thor. Like I don't know if you've ever seen. There's an
No, I
instance
haven't.
where
No.
Thor is a frog. So there's all these like different things. He's like a supernatural, or not supernatural, like an alien frog thing that takes up the mantle
Well,
of
in a way,
Thor.
they did it very smart. Like what they had like a 10-year thing going on, and then like now
Yeah,
it's just gonna have like bring in for the next generation. So,
yeah,
yeah, like all their contracts are over basically, and but it's good because it's we're all growing up and stuff too in our own different way, and just I mean it's a little bittersweet that that whole type of saga ended, but still at the same time, like I guess it can't really keep going just
well,
constantly.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
But I wish you
let
could,
let
because like I was saying
let on.
earlier, like Spider-Man has so much life to
Yeah,
dive into that like that could be 10 movies in its own if they did it the right way consistently. And let's hope that the MCU continues to deliver the same way that they have been delivering, even with these characters that aren't necessarily known by the general public, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I mean, just I hope
but
for the best for the MCU, and I know they'll do it because they've been doing it. So just keep
yeah,
at it. Just
yeah. Oh, which by the way,
all right.
the Defenders. How what did you feel about the Defenders? Because now I'm not talking about the actual series specifically, the Defenders, but on Netflix they had the series that started with Daredevil,
Yep.
and that was such a good like the first and second seasons, so fucking good. Some of my
Yes.
favorite of all time. Like I can watch those over and over and not get bored of them. And then they started coming out with Jessica Jones, and then Luke Cage, and
I
then
think
Iron
that
Fist.
I think they kind of went with Iron Fist and Luke Cage, right? Or do I have it backwards? No.
No, Luke Cage was first.
Okay.
Luke Cage was definitely first,
Okay.
I think.
No, well, I love it, and then I love the spinoff with it when they had the Punisher come in with when it came
Oh, I
with
didn't even
Daredevil.
with John Bernthal.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's the actor who
Yeah.
played the Punisher. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he's such. And if you remember, if you watch The Walking Dead, he was Sean on The
Yeah.
Walking Dead. And ever since The Walking Dead, he's been doing a lot of cool things. Like he was in the movie Fury, which was dope. I don't know if you remember that one with Shia LaBeouf, Brad Pitt, John Bernthal. It was like a war movie back in like Nazi Germany.
No, I haven't. No. No, I don't think I
Dude, you
watched
got
that
to
one
watch it.
actually.
It's so good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Watch Fury. It's on HBO Max. Might be on other things, but um, No, but John Bernthal, yeah, The Punisher was a great series. The Defenders, just in general, like,
Well, everything like led up
how
as
could you go
just
wrong, man?
like as if it were the like Avengers, but it was just like more local, and it was just the Defenders.
Yeah,
It was a whole
yeah, it
different type of
was. And the way
universe that they were doing.
it's like you said, like they started with the first one and they set it up in such a good way to bring in all
Yeah.
the other characters that like they just did a good job of doing it. And I was livid when they canceled anything else because I think Netflix and Marvel couldn't come to an agreement for the licensing rights of the characters and the storylines. Because I was really excited to see what was going to happen with Luke Cage in the next season. If you saw the second season and where it left off, it left you on this cliffhanger where you didn't know what was going to happen next, and it seemed so cool. Like, and even same thing with like Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones could have had a third season, and possibly ended at that point. And same with Iron Fist. They were about to dive into like I think finding the person who was actually his dad, I think, who played or I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they were looking for, I don't know. It just set up
I think I stopped after like
such
the
a good
Defenders
storyline
ended.
that could have happened.
Yeah, I stopped after the Defenders ended, and then I'm not sure how much further they went
Dude,
on after that.
oh no, you need to watch after the Defenders because there's, I think Jessica
Yeah.
Jones' third or second season came out after that. Luke Cage's second season came out after that, and Iron Fist's second season came after that. If you have not watched them, go watch them right now, Jimmy, and anyone else in the audience who has not watched them, go watch them because they are worth the watch, in my opinion.
Are we going to talk about what I haven't watched as well?
Yeah, what else haven't you watched, Jimmy?
On Disney Plus, The
The
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian?
Yeah.
This motherfucker. How have you not watched The Mandalorian? You have all this free time, man. You're not doing anything.
Talking about I was working all week, Pooh.
Yeah, and when you come home, what do? Have a beer and watch something that's not The Mandalorian?
Take care of my dogs. I don't know.
What? Come on, you act like taking care of your dogs means you have to like sit with them and like talk to them for hours on end.
Well, I gotta make sure this little one like wastes all her energy, or else she's gonna wake me up like 3 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah.
So you can't watch The Defenders. You can't watch The Mandalorian.
Well, okay.
During this time.
I could have, but a certain specific game came out, and I had to play it, and I'm going through my second run on it. So.
Okay, so that's done. And so what?
So I'm still
watch The Mandalorian, Jimmy. Watch The Mandalorian. In fact, speaking of Star Wars, and I'm really excited. That's not okay. First off,
okay.
Let's start at one point. Star Wars, because I remember, since we're talking about Unsung today, I remember I went to Unsung on May 4th, which, if you know, is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, if you have a list. But I remember going there on May 4th, and all day at Unsung, they were showing Star Wars movies. It was just like a marathon of Star Wars movies, which was such a cool little perk because they have their TVs set up and they're always showing. So that's another thing about Unsung. They're always showing like movies or shows that are part of like superhero culture. So if I go in one day, I might be watching The Avengers, or another day I might be watching The Dark Knight Rises. Another day, come in on May the 4th, and I'm watching Star Wars the whole time that I'm there, which is cool. It's like a cool aesthetic. But with that said, like that's more nerd culture that that this place dives into, and I think is like a cool home for people like you and me who love superhero stuff, love anime, love, and not that they like show anime or anything, but just love this kind of stuff. It's a cool place that's inclusive of what people like. So
yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool there. I saw that they had some like Watchmen posters, or signs, or just whatever.
Oh, that's right. They had something about Watchmen.
Yeah, I
Have you
remember
seen? Wait, have you seen the new series on HBO for Watchmen?
I started it. Yeah.
You started it.
Uh,
Finish it, dude.
yeah.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah. I liked
Anyone
it
out
from
there,
what I saw.
get HBO. Watch Watchmen. It like if no one if I never knew about the Tulsa massacre until recently because of the all the injustices that are happening right now that people are speaking out about. And so people started talking about things that I never heard of, like Juneteenth or the Tulsa massacre. And HBO's The Watchmen, which if you follow the Watchmen comic books or watch the original Watchmen movie, which is how I was introduced to it, which is such like a dark, gritty movie. It
It was
was
a good
just so
movie. I
cool.
rewatched that.
It was. And so the new Watchmen show kind of dives into the aftermath of all of that, and it's really cool. I don't want to dive into too much of that because we're talking about Star Wars now, which is one of my favorite topics. But Watchmen, go watch it, man, men and women.
All right, I'm gonna ask. Did you watch all of the rest of the Star Wars movies? I didn't. I stopped after 7.
The first one, you mean? The first one in the next series?
Yeah, I stopped. I
Yeah.
like.
So yeah, no, I actually, unpopular opinion, but I like them for what they are. There are some things that
Purists
could
out
have been
there or what?
improved for sure. No, there are a ton of people who hate. Number one, don't accept the prequel trilogies and don't accept the sequel trilogy. All they care about is the 4, 5, and 6, the original Star Wars movies. So even like the first ones, um, the Phantom Menace, I'm blinking, and I'm blinking. The prequel ones, like a lot of people don't like them, and there are reasons why, and I get it. There are inconsistencies, but like
All right.
they're good movies and they're important to the saga, and so I don't think you can discredit them all the way. I think so. The new series, a lot of people are complaining because they weren't handled the right way. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the story, a lot of things that just don't make sense, a lot of things that they could have touched on but they didn't, things that could have gone a certain way and didn't, that people are mad about. So um, I kind of wanted to start talking about the fact that Star Wars, so Lucasfilms and Jon Favreau has been brought in as well, who helped make The Mandalorian. He's actually a really great director. Really love him as an actor and director. He was the guy who was in Iron Man, his assistant. You know, the guy with the curly hair. You know who Jon Favreau is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's being brought in to help with the newest Star Wars. So what I'm reading and hearing is that the latest trilogy is canceled. So everything that happened in the newest 3 movies is basically going to be wiped out and redone
Oh, really?
because it's so horribly received and it was so horribly built. And I get why, but I still enjoy the movies. I really like Daisy Ridley as Rey. Same as the guy who plays Finn. I don't know his name. I do know his name, but I'm blanking.
Okay.
And BB-8 obviously is fucking awesome. He's new
I know.
R2D2 and he's great.
Like people just rip your
Um,
shirt off. Like that character does not exist anymore.
that's not real Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
new canon. No, just like, so what I'm hearing is that they're gonna basically revamp the final trilogy, or not the final trilogy, but the latest trilogy. And so, from what I understand, Lucasfilms is trying to retroactively revamp the story in a way that makes it more suitable to the Star Wars universe. Number one, I'm extremely excited about that because that means that we're getting a whole new take on this story that just came out. It was good, but it wasn't great. It didn't give justice to the Star Wars universe, if that makes sense.
All right. So, do you think they're going to bring back Harrison Ford? If they're going to revamp it?
Mm, See, that's what I wasn't sure about. It was like, so the latest trilogy, spoiler, killed off Han Solo
It's not a spoiler anymore.
and Carrie Fisher, rest in peace.
Oh right, yeah,
Princess
fuck,
Leia.
yeah.
So they have,
Didn't think
if
about
they're
that.
gonna rebuild it, they're gonna have to rebuild it in a way where Princess Leia isn't in the universe anymore, I think. And maybe they'll have to do the same thing with Harrison Ford. I mean, I feel like Harrison Ford's the kind of guy that wouldn't care to do as many Star Wars movies as it took to get it right, because Star Wars, in a way, was like one of his biggest roles. Aside from like Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
I think that was one of his most like lucrative roles. And like I think Harrison Ford's the kind of guy that will continue to stick with the series. Same as, why I am blanking on names today. Mark Hamill.
And I mean,
I am really bad today. Mark
well, how far
Hamill,
are you into with
like
your
I think
beer?
he's also the kind of person, he spoke out about how shitty the newest three movies were too. He definitely expressed his distaste for them. And I think he definitely wants to come back and do justice for revamping that trilogy. So
So, do you think it's more along the lines of maybe just just the outsourcing of it,
outsourcing in what way? What do you mean?
just like
Trying to
like
get someone
they're
else's Han Solo and Princess Leia, or what do you mean?
no, just like the years that it came out, but like they're coming like year after year, right? For the past few
Yeah,
years.
once the trilogy starts, it's one every year.
Yeah, because I'm looking at right now, like episode 1, 99, then 02, then 05. So then, but like back in the day, so they have like 4 or 5 and 6, so it would be 77, 80, then 83. And then it was like 15, 17, 19. So it was like 2 years. But
Yeah,
so it seemed like it went
exactly.
from
So
three to two.
the way things run now is like you need one a year, basically,
Yeah. So it's like
in
it was
some
just like a little
capacity.
too rushed then, like just because
I
like
don't think that
you're
I don't think it had anything to do with being rushed. I just think the wrong people were in the wrong they had the
well,
wrong people in positions that mattered.
I mean, you could also
So
think as well, like Star Wars was going like along a leg race with the MCU. I don't want to bring MCU back up, but like I would get it, like just
yeah,
to
I
like
guess
just to not like be overshadowed. It's like, oh, now it's coming
yeah,
out again.
yeah, I get where you're coming from with that. It
Yeah,
definitely, I think Star Wars was definitely trying to come back into play and compete with comic book movies, because like we were talking about earlier, nerd culture is becoming cool again. So I think Star
yeah.
Wars was
Nerd is the new
trying
hot.
very much. Yeah, it really is. And I think Star Wars was trying to come in and pave their way back into new nerd culture in the cinematic universe today and be relevant and be cool. And maybe they did it in the wrong way. And so here's to hoping Jon Favreau and the rest of Lucasfilms can help bring it back on track to what the Star Wars universe is supposed to be. I think that's probably one of the most important things. From what I hear, and the distaste of everyone from Caitlin Kennedy is that she ruined it. So what Jon Favreau did with The Mandalorian, if the new Star Wars trilogy is anything as good as the new Mandalorian or as The Mandalorian, I think we're in good shape for some new Star Wars movies. And I'm really excited because I do feel like I was bored a little bit during the
Yeah,
Star Wars movies. Story time.
story time.
The first
All right, let's go.
time, so uh, Star Wars, the first one that came out, which was not The Last Jedi, that was
The first one, A New
The
Hope.
Force Awakens. The Force Awakens.
Oh, okay, okay. You're talking
When
about
The
this
Force
new one.
Awakens came out, I rushed to the theaters to watch it. The second one that came out, which was not The Last Jedi.
It was Last
No, yeah,
Jedi.
The Last Jedi. It was The Last Jedi, and then it was The Rise of Skywalker. So The Last Jedi, uh, me and my girlfriend went to an AMC that had a bar, and we got there early, and so we went to the bar and had some Star Wars inspired drinks,
Hell yeah, as you
and
should.
got pretty drunk, got pretty turnt right there in the lobby. By the time the movie got on, I fell asleep. I went into a drunken sleep and didn't wake up for anything. I guess I was snoring. My girlfriend, my girlfriend was like so mad at me, and I woke up and got mad, and I was man, I was so mad that I missed out on that movie. But like I don't know, it's just a funny story. Like
I've did that a
just to
couple
show,
times. Yeah, with
yeah.
when I was with
Don't drink before you go to a movie, man.
well, don't drink
Not a good
before you
idea.
go, but just like have one or two drinks and then you're fine. But like if you're
Yeah, well, that would have been smart. But if you go to the lobby and just start drinking a ton and then go into
oh
the
yeah.
movie, you get what you get,
Did you
right?
go to a dining one or no?
No, it wasn't a dine-in at the time, at least.
Yeah,
It
we were
was
going to.
the Victoria Gardens one.
All right. I haven't been to that one. I think Fullerton was a dine-in one, but yeah, dude, there was like two, maybe three times I've done that where I'm just like, but like these would be like hot ass days, and then like I'll just be like drinking, and then
Yeah.
eat some food, and I'm like just sitting there, and they're reclining seats, so I'm like, yeah, I can kind of squint my eyes a little, I can kind of watch it just chilling, and then I'm like, where'd this movie go? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So for the next
So
topic,
we talked about Star Wars already. We
yep.
talked about MCU and stuff. Um, but there's another cool comic book that I like. Well, I haven't read the comic book at all, but it's a Netflix series, and the Netflix series is fucking dope. And that's the Umbrella Academy. Have you watched it?
Well, yes, I have, but it is a comic. It's with Dark Horse Comics, I
Yeah.
believe.
Which did you know? Fun fact, I think everybody knows except for probably you, is that the writer of the Umbrella Academy, the person who created it, is Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, which is one of my all-time favorite bands.
And
FYI.
yes, of course, I wouldn't know that
You
because
wouldn't, or you would have known that.
I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know me, like I like American comics and stuff like that, but I'm more into like Japanese manga and stuff, just Japanese comics.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
I
mean
get
that's my
that.
lane, if anything. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I get that. And that's another thing for me is that I love anime. We could talk about anime on a whole episode. We
Yeah.
could dedicate an entire episode to anime,
Yeah.
as the same way that we're dedicating a whole episode to
Yeah.
comic
Not
books and
this time.
superheroes right now. Yeah, no, not this time. We'll find it. We will make the first anime inspired brewery, anime themed brewery.
Oh fuck, dude, that'd be so great.
And take a little note from Unsung and Gamecraft, who are themed after superhero comic books and gaming. I don't know if you ever heard of Gamecraft. They seem pretty cool. I haven't had any of their beer or gone there, but there's someone I want to explore pretty soon because they have a whole gaming concept for it, which sounds cool. No, but so the Umbrella Academy, like I was saying, was created by Gerard Way, who is the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, who was one of my favorite bands growing up, and who is an just like I don't know, there was something about Gerard Way that like drew me as a person to like his style, and he's also making another comic that follows. If you listen to My Chemical Romance or know anything about them, when they came out with like their third or fourth studio album, they kind of made this theme of like the like almost like a Mad Max kind of like Outsiders theme kind of thing for the music videos, and it was like kind of a concept for their album and stuff. But he's making a comic now that has to do with them as characters in this like Mad Max kind of world thing. So I'm really like excited for that. I think that'll be really cool. But Umbrella Academy,
You gotta send me some more stuff about that because that actually sounds pretty interesting. I mean, you would know more than me
yeah,
right now.
yeah. I'll send you a little bit of what I saw about that. But
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy. So what did you think about it? Because it was kind of quirky. It was kind of like it's
It
definitely like
was.
it's not your typical superhero movie or show. That's for sure.
And so that's the thing when it came down to like certain type of shows, like I would always be into the anti-hero, that
I
type of
get that. So
character.
was I.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
So
definitely the villain, anti-hero
yeah,
kind of guy.
yeah. So it's like,
Like Venom's one of my favorite characters in comic books
Punisher
of all
too.
time.
It's
I
like
should have worn my Venom shirt. What the fuck? Damn
what the
it.
fuck, dude? Well, I guess you're just gonna be BB-8
But
right
we
now.
like
You ain't
we
punishing
like
shit,
the
homie.
anti-heroes. Venom was one of my favorite characters growing up for sure. As I think it was probably a lot of people's favorite characters growing up. I think like Venom just in general like had this anti-hero uh, aesthetic that identified with people in a way because he wasn't necessarily a villain. He was just a person being controlled by this symbiote, this alien substance that came
Yeah,
to Earth.
yeah. Which
Anyways, continue your
Tom
thoughts.
Hardy
Sorry.
was pretty good. I like that Tom Hardy movie. It was pretty cool. It was fun for what it was. Like we talked about. I
Yeah.
liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, I think it could have potential to join the MCU in a way, hopefully. But I don't know. It already has a story that's already its own that has nothing to do with Spider-Man. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what's kind of cool though with when it comes down to the whole MCU stuff, like there's no one going to be able to replace Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah, Robert
Like
Downey Jr. did
Captain
such a great
America.
job playing
It's like
the.
no one will ever be able to like replace Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, dude. Nobody.
Oh,
Fucking
dude, no. If
hell
anyone
no.
steps into Wolverine's shoes, it needs to be.
Fuck.
I don't even know. I don't even know who could.
You just have to clone like a younger version of Hugh
Hugh
Jackman, dude.
Jackman was literally
Yeah,
the
dog.
embodiment of Wolverine's
Dude,
character. Like, I don't know.
exactly.
Oh, man, he did such a good job. Not in the early movies, because if you remember the early movies, he was still
Yeah.
kind of awkward, but he definitely grew into himself, especially in
Fucking
like Wolverine
Logan was
Origins, X-Men Origins, the first one.
yeah.
He
Logan was
definitely
such a
grew into
sad
his
movie, dude.
character.
I love that movie.
Logan was great.
Yeah.
Logan was so good.
Yeah, dude. I gotta watch that movie again. That was such a badass movie. Shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, fuck, man. Old man Logan. That's my guy. But we were talking about the Umbrella Academy and like how you kind of like anti-heroes. And I feel like this is a gang of almost like borderline anti-heroes. A bunch of people who don't know what to do with their powers in a way.
It's not to correlate to something that we just talked about. It's kind of like the Watchmen. It's like somewhat vigilantes and like
Yeah.
they just
Yeah,
but they
definitely.
all had their own problems and stuff.
I think what's cool about this comic and show is it's very different from any other one. I think it's reminiscent of X-Men in a way where there's an eccentric old man that brings all these people with powers into under one roof and trains them to be superheroes. So like Professor X, who brings these gifted kids into his academy and trains them to be this mutant force. Same kind of thing with this eccentric billionaire old man who adopts these kids who are all born on the same day for some reason and have these weird powers. And who knows, I think maybe like Foresight, because he could only get like, what was it, 6 out of the 52 kids that were born on that day or something.
7.
So 7 of the 50, however many kids that were born on that day. So what I'm excited to possibly see in the next season or in the future is the rest of those 50 kids that were born on that day and what powers they have and like kind of, but anyways, like I think it's so reminiscent of like X-Men, but with a dark twist, where these kids have now become estranged brothers and sisters, trying to come back after their father's death and like make sense of what's going on and coming back as a team and understanding like their fucked up childhood. Basically, I feel like I identify with that in a way where I'm like, fuck.
Well,
like,
you don't have powers,
I'm an adult now. What the fuck do I do with all the shit that happened as a child? Like, I'm
No.
just gonna drink my beer in silence now and cry.
Well, I mean, are you finishing it? Fuck. I'm finishing mine.
That's the end.
Yeah, everybody. Well, that was Growler Hour, Crawler Edition. You know, we're
Yes, it was Growler
you
Hour
know
Crawler Edition.
normally we would be
Growler Hour.
together and drinking a growler together, sharing beer. But now that we're social distancing and just kind of being safe, we're gonna pick up our growlers. Usually, we're gonna try for the same brewery and try different styles. I mean, we talk about it and
Yeah.
you know, just try to make it work, just have fun with it and just talk about some bullshit. How we
Yeah.
think. I'm pretty sure people that are listening to this like these motherfuckers don't know shit. But the thing is, we're not saying we do.
And we don't care to know shit. We really
Yeah,
don't.
I
We
know. Come
just,
up.
we
Yeah,
do what
just
we do, we say what we say, and we like it that way.
oh yeah. That's how that is, how it was,
But no, just to recap everything that happened today, we had some unsung beer,
Yep.
which was great. I didn't really get to talk about like the flavor of this or anything, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. I was obviously able to finish it once it got warm, so that tells you something. Um, Unsung's a great place if you like nerd culture, if you like comic books, superheroes. They got comic books for you to listen to read while you're there. They have drink and draw nights, not during COVID, obviously, but when they reopen back up, hopefully they'll continue doing that. I think that was a really cool feature or like thing that they did. Um, so Unsung was cool. We have some friends that we promoted earlier: Life in Zero Gravity, Common Ground Kitchen, and Fiction Los Angeles Clothing Company. Make sure to go back, check them out, find their handles. I'm not going to repeat them again, but they're awesome. So make sure to go check them out. They've supported us in a way, and we've supported them as well. So it's a mutual understanding, mutual friendship, and just love these guys, love what they do. We also talked about some MCU versus DCEU and who's the winner. It's MCU, hands down. Come on, don't even get out of here with that bullshit. Don't tell me some DCEU is going to
And
beat
if you
out
guys want,
MCU.
try to send some messages on our way on Instagram. Maybe we'll see them, maybe not. Just if you think
What do you mean? Maybe we'll see
otherwise,
them, maybe not. As if we have like 42 million followers
no, just I
to
mean, because
choose from.
I don't go on the account at all, so I
God
don't
damn
see
it,
shit.
Jimmy. Well, that's the
Hey,
problem right now. That's why we
w-
only have however many followers. No, but no, yeah, definitely follow us at the Growler Hour. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all of the above. Anywhere you can find your podcast, we're pretty much on there. There's maybe like a few small ones that we're not on, but that's aside from the point. We're on everything. We're easily accessible. The Growler Hour, don't forget it. We got a pilot and 3 official episodes, including this one, out. Really excited to keep doing what we're doing, right, Jimmy?
oh yeah, we're gonna keep at it and just hopefully, maybe eventually instead of like every other week, maybe go more towards every week. Just it's we're just trying to make things work, just have fun with it, not to trying to like
Yeah.
stress too much about like certain things, but just try to keep content coming through when
Yeah.
and just
No,
try to have
definitely.
like
And
something productive going on.
yeah, hope we can get together soon, not over Zoom, and get together
Yes.
and be able to record a podcast with each other and be able to share a beer together.
Yeah,
But
maybe be
unfortunately, we're in times where that's not necessarily possible
yeah, maybe it'll be during the time for
or
someone's
safer not
birthday
to.
and then we're gonna go eat some pizza and stuff. Either way, man.
All right, man.
That was a
Well, it
growler
was good
hour.
talking to you. It was good having this conversation about nerd culture. Unsung Brewing. Make sure to go follow Unsung Brewing, both on Instagram. Go to their spot, get some beer, support them while this COVID stuff is happening, and become a regular, because that's what we want here, is for people to discover new beer and support the local craft.
Yeah, and tell us your thoughts. Like what's your favorite type of beer too? Just let us know.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. But thanks for tuning in. We love you. This has been the Growler Hour, and cheers.
Yep. Cheers, everyone. I mean, we finished ours. You should finish yours. Later.